Hi everyone, my name is Tiffany and this is Growing Up Shaman. Today's story is going to be about how I met my shamanic teacher. It's going to be kind of a long story because it does include the first time that I met a power animal as well. So the story begins October 12th, 2012. I woke up in the middle of the night to a sound that I thought was my dog getting up on the futon. She used to always fall asleep next to me, next to my bed. But in the middle of the night, she had a habit of trying to sneak up on the futon, which she wasn't allowed to do it. And she knew that, but she would try every night anyways. So, like I said, I woke up to a sound that I assumed was my dog. But when I opened my eyes, I was startled to see that it was not my dog that was making that noise, but it was actually a big, black, beautiful wolf. This wolf was just like in front of my dresser, and it was huge. It was bigger than I wasn't even sure if it was a dog or a wolf, to be honest with you. But I've had Great Pyrenees dogs before, and this wolf was even bigger than my Great Pyrenees. So that's why I assume it's a wolf. But anyways, it happened like right when I had woken up. So I thought to myself, well, maybe this is just my eyes playing tricks on me because I'm half asleep still, right? So I'm just staring at this thing, expecting it to disappear, and it doesn't disappear. This thing was solid black. It had green and yellow eyes, and I remember staring at it so much that I could see that it had little tiny hairs right around the edge of the lips. And that was the only thing that wasn't black on him. Um, I remember kind of looking to my right without even taking my eyes off of this thing that was like straight in front of me. I remember looking to my right and seeing my dog, who was in front of my door, which was very odd. She never sleeps there, but that's where she was. And I could see to the left of the wolf, and I could see my TV and my VCR lights like they were on. So, but I couldn't see through this thing. It was solid. And I remember looking down at its feet, and where its feet were supposed to be, it had actually faded into the physical world, and the wolf was no longer there. So it was like footless. Um, I remember going, "What the?" And as soon as I said that, it disappeared. I remember looking over to my boyfriend to see if he was awake or, but he wasn't. He seemed to still be asleep. So I just went back to sleep, and the next morning, I told my boyfriend, I was like, "Hey, do you remember me waking up in the middle of the night last night and saying what the?" And he was like, "Yeah, I do. I was going to ask you about that. Why did you do that?" And I told him about the wolf and how it was there for, I don't know, maybe 5, 10 seconds. It seemed like a long time to me. When there's a wolf staring right at you, believe me, every second feels like a long time. Um, I remember thinking to myself that the feeling that I got when this wolf was around was not fear. I mean, I was startled at first because I wasn't expecting to see it. I mean, when I went to bed, there was nothing but my dog and my boyfriend with me in my place. But so I knew it wasn't real. Um, but I knew that there was some very strong spiritual significance to this as well. The feeling that I got from the dog or the wolf was very much like dog energy. It felt very protective. It felt very loyal. It felt very wise and very ancient. And so after I saw this, I told everybody that would listen to me about this wolf that I saw. And I tried to do some research on wolves. And the only thing that I could come up with online was a story called the story about a black wolf called the Black Chuck. Now, this Black Chuck was a story from like the 1500s, I think, from England and Wales area. There's documentation of a big black wolf that went and terrorized the city and attacked people, killed people, and it was just they considered it an omen of death. They believed that if you were unlucky enough to see this black wolf, that it was a sign that perhaps someone close to you actually is going to pass away. Um, so the next time I saw my mother and I told her about this wolf and the black chuck and what I had read about, that it being an omen and whatnot, I remember her looking at me and going, "But you know what? I'm ready to die." And I was like, "Mother, I'm not telling you that because I think you're going to die. I'm not. That's not what I was saying. I was just saying that's the research that I found. I heard about this black chuck dog, and I was just curious. I'm still doing more research on it, and I want to know, what the significance of this black wolf is." But we ended up having a very long conversation about her death. Um, and she basically told me, what her wishes were and how she wanted things to be in case, she were to pass. And it was a very unusual conversation. One that I am very grateful that we had, though. And I remember going back to work, like the next time I had to go to work, I was doing some more research on the computer, just trying to figure out what it means to see a black dog or whatnot. And I remember coming up with all these websites that were referencing shamanism. And at the time, I did not know anything about shamanism, so I was immediately dismissing all of those websites. I wasn't even going to them or paying attention to them. And I was just going down other rabbit holes that were getting me absolutely nowhere. And I remember that day at work, our computers were lagging. The internet was super slow. And so anytime you clicked on any link, it was going to take a good 30 seconds for it to load up like a dial up. It was just ridiculous. But I remember having this weird twitch while I had my finger on the mouse. And this twitch actually made me click on one of those links about shamanism. And I was like, oh, great. I clicked on something I don't even want to look at. And now it's going to take half a minute before I can even choose another link to look at, right? Um, so when that link pulled up that page, it turns out it was a list of shamans that had been trained by a woman by the name of Sandra Ingerman. And it had these shamans listed by the state. So I figured, well, I'm already on this page. I might as well see, who's in Texas. And so I went to the Texas tab, and suddenly I recognized this name. The name was Karen Hutchins, and I was like, I know that name. I know that name. It was just like so clear to me. Um, and so my mind kept thinking, I wonder if this is my acupuncturist, because my acupuncturist's name was Karen, and I couldn't for the life of me figure out what her last name was. I mean, I had seen it before, I had, contacted her before, but I couldn't remember what her last name was. And so every time I was seeing Karen Hutchinson's name, I was visualizing this Karen, my acupuncturist. And I also remember getting like flashes of information about this Karen. Um, One of the things I heard Spirit say was, remember when you were 16. And I remembered what was going on in my life when I was 16. I had just been removed from my father's house and been placed in the care of my mother. And we were court ordered to go to counseling because of a lot of the trauma that we had been through in the 10 previous years. And the counselor that we went to was actually located just right up the street from where the majority of my traumas occurred. Um, but my mind didn't go to that building. It actually went to a building that was straight right up the street from where I lived at that time. And I remember um, thinking to myself, I have got to contact this woman and tell her about this wolf that I saw. I feel very connected to this woman, and I don't know why. I wonder if, like I said, it's my acupuncturist. Um, so I take the plunge and I decide I'm going to email this woman. And I was like, my name's Tiffany. You're probably going to think I'm crazy, but yesterday I woke up, in the middle of the night and saw this wolf, and I have somehow been led to you. Um, and the response that I got from her was actually pretty remarkable. She did not think I was crazy. She basically welcomed me into the world of shamanism, and she suggested this book um, by Ted Andrews that talks about power animals, and it talks about what each animal is there to teach you. So she also invited me to these meetings that she had. They're called NOG. Stands for Nurturing Our Gifts. And it's basically a place where we can gather and journey together, which is essentially like meditation, but with an intention set before you go into the meditation. And, anyways, what was really weird about that? The first time I went to a NOG meeting, right at her door, where you enter the actual classroom, there was a picture of a black wolf. And I was like, wow, this is a trip. I was just like, wow, this is for real. I mean, it just weirded me out. Like I felt like I belonged. I felt like spirit had led me there. And when I got there, I met all these wonderful, wonderful people. And for the first time in my life, I felt like I had met my soul tribe. And I felt an immediate connection to certain people in the group, and those relationships only got better and better as I continued going to these NOG classes, or NOG meetings. They're not really classes, but I did definitely learn a lot, and I was able to build a support system that I had not had previously to meeting Karen. Um, Interesting thing is that the next time I went um, to my acupuncturist, I was so excited to tell her about how I had met this other Karen, and what that I'm going to these meetings now, and that I don't know. I just felt like this. I needed to tell her, and she goes, Tiffany, did you know that me and Karen are the ones who started that group? I was like, what? She was like, did you know that? And I said, no, I didn't. She goes, yeah, me and Karen have been friends for a very long time. And I was like, that explains why whenever I saw Karen's name, all I could visualize was you. And when I told Karen Hutchins, the shamanic teacher, about how I had met the other Karen, she was like, yeah, she hasn't been to Nog in about, I don't know, 15, 20 years, but yeah, she was one of the original members of Nog. And so I thought that was so neat. Um, but anyways, I tell you this story because oh well, let me kind of get into what wolf is about, because what wolf medicine is about, because that's very important. Um, Wolf medicine is all about pack members. People who have wolf energy are very family oriented, or group oriented. Even if it's not family, friends, they have their own pack. They are very loyal. They are very protective, and they're very like, they don't like to fight. They're very non-confrontational, but they will kill to protect their pack. So that was something that I very much related to. I was very family oriented, and I was very protective. And another interesting fact about wolves is that they can sense danger coming from a good 400 miles away. And I found that to be particularly true in my case because the morning after I saw that wolf, someone who ended up being of a lower vibration, I don't want to call them an enemy, but someone who did not belong in my pack was coming to my property at the invitation of a sister who I do not get along with at all. Um, I would classify her as more of an Omega wolf, um, the last wolf, because I don't want to get into that. I won't badmouth anyone on my channel. That's not the kind of vibe I want to spread. But anyways, the message that I got from the wolf was that it was time for me to leave my pack and to start a new one because I was no longer welcome in my original pack. Um, the reason being is because 30 days, or actually 40 days, the next month after I saw that wolf, my mom ended up passing away in the middle of the night. And it was on Thanksgiving Day that she passed away. And all hell broke loose in my family. Like, all hell broke loose. There was a lot of fighting going on, even physical fights. And I had to actually call the police on one of my family members because he was beating up multiple people, multiple females in the family. And me calling the cops on this person essentially got me kicked out of my house. And I ended up homeless like a week later. Luckily for me, my brother, he took me into his home. And so I did not have to sleep out on the streets. But it was a very, very tough time for me after my mom passed. And I'm so grateful for that wolf because without it, I would not have found Karen and my soul tribe. Um, Karen taught me so much about shamanism and how I can look to these animals that come to me as a teacher. And it I ended up having so many power animals come to me after that. Some power animals will stay with you forever, and some of them just come and go as you need them. Um, if you study animal medicine, you will find that you can learn things about certain animals in layers. So, like the very first layer of an animal's power medicine would be like, what are its characteristics? So, if you study those characteristics, you know that those are the ones that spirit is trying to pull out of you. If you want to go even deeper into your animal medicine, then you would look at the prey of this animal, the weaknesses of this animal. I'm sorry, not the prey, but the weaknesses. And you want to strengthen those weaknesses. If you want to go even deeper, then you go to your power animal's prey, because that will give you insights into your enemies, um, and how they react and how they act and how you can defeat them. And then if you want to go even deeper, you can go into the prey's weaknesses. So there's multiple layers of how animal medicine can help you. Um, some animals even have like a time frame associated with them. And with wolves, I'm sure as everyone knows, they are associated with the full moon. And the full moon is essentially a 30-day timeline, give or take a day or two, right? So that was something else that ended up coming to pass as well because my mother ended up passing like the very next month. So um, everything was so spot on with that wolf. It was able to lead me to my shamanic teacher that I'm so, so grateful for. I've been training with her for the last 12 years. So I barely feel like I'm a little 12-year-old shamanic practitioner. I'm not like the 50-year-old woman that I am, but just a preteen essentially. But anyways, I really hope that if you like this video that you will consider donating to your local animal shelter. I am a big lover of animals, especially of dogs, and I live in Bastrop County, so if you feel inclined, feel free to look up their website. I might put it in the description below, and if you could donate, that would be wonderful. Anyways, if you like this video, please give it a like, share, comment, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.